I always knew it was a trick and a con. I didn't truly understand things to the level I understand them now. But I had an intrinsic understanding, and I think everybody does. If you're at a gas station and it's 3 a.m. and a Lambo pulls up and a guy gets out of it, you're thinking criminal, drug dealer, gangster. Yeah. You're not thinking, he has a uni degree. Because you're not going to think that. So when you see money, people don't even associate the money they see with university. But then they go, I want to make money, so I need a university. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all. So be a slave, be a slave, be a slave. Every single government in the world is interested in control. That's all they've ever wanted. That's all they ever want more of. Governments want control. They want to control their populace. They think of us as sheep. We're cattle to them. They want us to comply. They don't want our individuality. They don't want us to think for ourselves. They want us to just sit there and obey like robots. So every single one of them is slowly inching, day by day, pushing the limits, taking as much control as they can from the people to the people revolt. Mm-hmm. And if they do it slowly and incrementally, they get away with a lot. This is beyond money. The people in charge of the world print the money. They don't care about money. They don't care about economies. They don't care about taxes. All these things are brokey considerations. When you print the money, you think you give a shit if the economy's good or bad? You print the money. You don't care. What you care about is when you click your fingers, do people obey you? When I talk about the Matrix, I'm talking about the systems which have been created by society, which are deliberately designed to enslave. In the movie, the Matrix were used for our body heat, but here in this Matrix, we're used for our efforts and our energies. And you're existing inside of a system which is deliberately rigged to make the rich richer and for the poor to stay poor. Yeah. And you can sit there and get upset about it. You can sit there and cry about it and say the system needs to change, which is what some people do, socialists, XYZ. But I know that's a waste of time, right? That's futile. The best thing to do is to understand the rules of the game and find a way to win. So yes, the game is rigged. Yes, the rich are always going to get richer. Yes, the poor are always going to struggle. And that's the way the game is set up. So you still need to find the best move on the chessboard. There's no point sitting there saying, I want to play a different game, because that's never going to happen. Because the people with the money are the people who have the control and they have the power. And why would they have the game set up any other way? Why would they change? One of the largest things that hold people back from wealth is the people around them. Not only because of the mindsets of the people around them, but also trying to find people around you who you can truly actually trust is difficult. I was always close with my brother and he's always been close with me because we are a team, and you need to have a team. And if you have a team, you stand a better chance. It's player versus player out here, man. It's on the street. It's not easy. For every dollar you make, for every pound you take, you took it from someone else. You don't make money. You take money. People don't understand the way that money works. You're not the Federal Reserve. You can't create money from thin air. Every single pound in your bank is money you took from someone else. And when I say take, I don't mean it in a negative way. You might have convinced them to give it to you. You might have a coffee shop. I'll give you a nice coffee. You'll give me some money. Cool. But you still took his money, right? It's the true nature of the universe. You have to learn that you have to take things from other people. And by taking it, I'm not saying go rob a bank. I'm not saying that. I'm saying completely the opposite. You can be a philanthropist. I'm taking money from everyone inside of HU, but I'm changing their lives. It's a good thing. You can take money in a positive way. Most people don't look at life that way. And when you look at life that way, you need to start identifying. One of the things we teach inside of HU is to identify every single time your money is taken from you. So I say this to people. I say, for the next 2 weeks, every time you spend money, even if it's a pound, write down how they got it from you. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, all right, cool. You're walking down the street. You're going to Starbucks. You buy a coffee. Why did they take your money? Well, I wanted coffee. Yeah, but how? Okay, you wanted coffee, right? Cool. Did you only want a coffee because you saw Starbucks, or did you want a coffee beforehand? Why did you want their coffee and not another coffee? Did you buy a cake as well? Why did you buy a cake? All right, cool. So now you identified how they took your money. Then realize how they could have took more of your money. You bought a cake, but you didn't buy a sandwich. Why? The sandwiches weren't on display, or they looked cold, or they looked rubbish, or the woman who was serving me was old and ugly. Maybe she was a young cutie and talked to me about bologna sandwiches or a ball, right? So you need to start identifying how your money is taken from you. Because once you identify how your money is taken from you, you can start to actually intelligently think about how you can take money from other people. If I had to open a coffee shop, if I sit in a coffee shop, right? If I sit at Starbucks, the whole time I'm in there, not only am I thinking about how they got the money from me and how much I spend, I'm thinking about how I could outcompete them. I'd sit there and go, okay, cool. I'm in Starbucks. I spent £5.68. I got a latte and I got a donut, and I'm sitting here. And that business place, that commercial property right across the street is available for this. How could I outcompete this coffee shop that just took my money? What's the profit margin on this £5.68? How much did this cost them? Coffee, pennies. Donut, 30p maybe, right? How much is the staff? They pay the staff minimum wage, £8 an hour. So I've already paid 30 minutes work from that. Yes. She's there for another 30 minutes for free, right? How much is the rent? How much is the business rates? If I had to open up there, how would I attract people to come into my shop as opposed to their shop? They got a big brand name. I'm brand new. Okay, well, the bitch working here is ugly. My one's going to be hot. Boom. That's the beginning. Next thing, do they have any signage outside? No. I'm going to try and put some signage outside. Do they have parking? No. I need parking. But you need to start thinking about how you could convince people to give you their money as opposed to giving it to the places they already give it. And once you do that, people say, I can't think of how to make money. If you start doing that for a year and just keep a notepad, you'll have 100 ideas of how to make money. You'll sit there and go, there's a place here that's doing this. We could do it better this way. This place online's doing this. We can do it better this way. And then to get them all done, what do you need? Network. You need people. It's all about people. I always knew that even when I was fighting, and I was always trying to find a way to make money. Even when I was fighting, all I did was try different ways to make money. I tried a million things, and that's what you have to do. You have to try a bunch of things and learn a bunch of lessons until you finally find something that works. So. The problem is as well, it's difficult because the way that humans work and the way that we've evolved as a species is that we don't really learn lessons unless they're learned the hard way.
Yeah.
I believe that unless a lesson has taught the hard way, you're not going to learn it. You can have so many near misses and people won't learn their lesson. Bro, you must know a guy who goes out there, nearly crashes his car, doesn't slow his ass down until he wrecks it.
Yeah.
Like, this is how people are, right? So you need that pain for the lesson to sting enough to really genuinely go inside of your mind. And it's the same with everything. It's the same with driving a car or business. Truthfully, if you want to learn a lesson about business, you're going to have to suffer at some point, right? So we always say that most people are not successful with their first companies, X, Y, Z, blah, blah, blah. I get that. The truth is there's a lot of people who make a lot of money with their first company, but they just spunk it, act an idiot, and it all blows up in their face. And that's how you get the discipline on your fourth company that when you have $3 million in the bank, you just leave it there. You know, and don't be done with it. So you need to go through some pain. You need to experience some negative things. You need to have to a degree some trauma to really even learn any lessons. So yeah, business studies, you're right. The book, that's not going to teach you anything about business. You need to get out there on the streets. You need to make mistakes. You need to suffer. You need to have the tax man knocking at your door. You got to deal with all that stuff so that you make sure it doesn't happen again. I really think that humans are stupid enough to only learn the hard way. That's kind of how it works. I am absolutely and utterly a believer in hard work. I'm a proponent of hard work. I have all this money and all I do is work. My entire life is work. This podcast is work. I'm getting in the car and going to another meeting, work. I want to go to the gym so I'm in good shape, work. It's all work. My entire life is work. And people don't want to look at life that way. They want to talk about work-life balance and being lazy and all this crap. I don't believe in any of that. I believe in if you want to win, you have to outcompete the man who's prepared to do nothing but work. It's player versus player. If you're going to sit there and go, I don't want to work more than an hour a day, well, the guy who does want to work more than an hour a day is going to beat you. And no matter how smart you are, there's always a smart dude who's doing the same smart work you are for more hours than you're doing it. You don't notice if you're talented at something until all the hard work's done.
Yep.
I could be the most talented tennis player in the world, but I don't play tennis. So if I go down the tennis court, Joe Schmo is going to smoke me. I don't get to see my talent until I've worked so hard that I'm in the top 1%, and now I'm beating them because I have some God-given gift.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
You have to do the hard work first. If there's no hard work, there's no smart work. So someone's going to sit there and go, I work smart, I don't work hard, so I only have to work an hour a day. If working smart gets you a lot done in an hour a day, then you should work smart for 12 hours a day and get 12 times the work done. The traditional path to wealth is terrible advice. To go to university, get a degree, get a job, blah, blah, blah. That's terrible advice. We already know that. We talked about that. I think follow your passion is also a terrible piece of advice.
Yeah.
Yeah. People say, hey man, you need to find what you're passionate about and do that. And what they're trying to say is only do what you like because you have no motivation to do anything else. And motivation in and of itself is a scam. I don't believe in motivation. I believe in discipline. I am not motivated to do the things I'm supposed to do every day. I don't wake up full of like joy that I have to go to the gym or that I have to work or got to deal with crap. I don't feel motivated to do them. I'm disciplined. I do them regardless of how I feel. Whether I'm in the mood to do it or I'm not in the mood to do it, it gets done. That's discipline. Discipline's a real thing. Motivation is fleeting. Yeah. You're never going to be permanently motivated. So when someone comes along and says, oh, do what you're passionate about, what they're saying is you'll have endless motivation and then you'll be able to try hard. If you're the kind of person who can only try hard at something he enjoys, then you're going to fail. Because most things you enjoy don't pay any money. If they paid money, you wouldn't enjoy them. It's called a job, right? Nobody likes their job. You like your hobby. I'm sure you like playing video games. Maybe 1%, 0.1% can make money from video games, right? Most people, you ain't ever going to make it.
Yeah.
Do you think the guy in China who owns a concrete plant is passionate about concrete? You think he's sitting there stroking it at night, naked in bed? It's money. Be passionate about success. If you're passionate about money, then you can be passionate about anything. I'll be passionate about any business on earth that pays me. If you pay me $1 billion to dig that hole, I'll be very passionate about that hole. I obviously know what I'm talking about to some degree, right? So if Mike Tyson walks in here and tells you he's going to teach you how to box and says you can't fight, you're a pussy, if that upsets you, then you can't learn, right? It's Mike Tyson. Just shut up and listen. If someone richer than me comes along and says, Andrew, you don't know shit, you're a dumbass and you're a brokey, I'm going to sit there and go, okay, maybe I am a brokey, Elon. Tell me something, right? I'll listen. But if you're going to sit there and go, don't call me names and I'm not listening, you're never going to get anywhere, right? You don't become the master unless you're very, very good at being a student. And I've always been very, very good at knowing when to shut up. Oh, a lot of people with no money are really, really arrogant. I know a lot of broke people who are very arrogant. And their arrogance is a shield for their laziness. People will shield laziness with anything. No one wants to admit they're lazy. So they'll shield it with disbelief. That's a scam. Or I don't work hard. I work smart. Bollocks. More cover. Quitters are the worst people on the planet. You can give a quitter absolutely everything and they will still fail. Quitters can have every single advantage. Quitters can have all the information. Quitters can have all the tutelage. Quitters can have a mentorship. Quitters can have someone who messages them every morning. Hey, bro, let's get it. And guess what they're going to do at the end? Quit. They ain't never going to have shit. So if you're a quitter, I don't even want you even inside my organization. I don't want quitters anywhere near me because you're never going to be successful, right? You need the people who don't quit. I don't quit. Every single facet of my life is testament to the fact that I don't quit. When people see my plane in the sky, you can say whatever you want about me. You can call me arrogant. You can call me anything you want, but you cannot call me a quitter. I didn't quit. So that's the difference. When it was hard, I did it anyway. That's who I've always been. And if you don't have that kind of tenacity, you're never going to be anything. So look, everyone loves passive money, right? I make money as I sleep. I get it. You need to de-link your time to your money because if you're only working for money, you run out of time. You can't make enough money. I understand all those principles. My point is, if you have no money and you're coming to me saying, I want to make passive income, why are you not making active income? Get up off your ass and work first. Because there's no such thing as completely, truly 100% passive. You're going to have to check on it. You're going to have to maintain it. You're going to have to find a new tenant for that property. You're going to have to make sure that DeFi crypto farm you're in doesn't go to zero. It's not a rug pull. Yeah. You're always going to have to keep an eye on it, right? But the idea that people with no money are already so concerned with making money without work is amazing to me. You should be worried about active income. If you show me, if I'm a brokey and you show me how to make $1,000 an hour, I don't sit there and go, okay, but how can I make that passive? I go, cool. I'm making $18,000 a day because I'm going to work. You don't need to worry about passive income until you have no more time. I look at passive income because I have 18 hours a day I work. When all 18 of those hours are done and my workload still isn't finished, I have to find a way to make some of those income streams passive, either via staff or whatever else. Yep. And that's how I work smart. I use all of my time. And when all my time is done, now I have to become more efficient so that I can get more done within the same time frame. To sit there and say, I don't want to use my time, so I want passive income is dumb shit. The 16-year-old making 45 grand a month. If he was to sit to me and go, I don't want to make the TikToks. I want someone else to do it, make it passive, that he wouldn't be making money. He's just working. You have to just work. At some point you have to bite the bullet and just work. So when someone comes to me talking about passive income and they're a brokey, I'm like, you are just lazy. You are lazy. You will never get any. Lazy people never get anywhere in life. Doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter if it's tennis or money. If you're lazy, you're never going to get there. To the normies, to the brokies, they're not ready to listen to it. Yeah. The Matrix, they say in the movie, people who are still dependent on the system will fight to defend the system. There are people who I will sit there and say to them, look, your university degree is a scam. They lied to you. I will show you how to make money. And their reply will be, no, I went to a good university. They are desperate. No, that degree means something. You work at Greg's, G. Doesn't mean, and shut up. They won't accept it, right? So certain people are not ready for the truth. People who are ready for the truth seek it and they find it. I can never be depressed if I never slow down. Speed is extremely important. Speed defies gravity. How does a plane fly through the air and defy gravity? Speed. It's moving too fast to fall. If you're always attacking life, if you're always doing things, if you're always making more money, if you're always traveling the world, doing this, doing that, new car, here, there, new podcast, meeting James English, boom, boom, boom. If you're always doing things all the time,
unhappiness can't catch you. But I also know that speed is a fantastic way to be happy all the time. I'm always looking forward to something. I wake up every day excited. I'll go do this today. I'll go do this today. I'll go do this today. And I very much live my life in a frame of, no, I have to do this. It's very much I get to do this. There's another thing that a lot of people make a mistake with when I talk to them, like, I have to go to work today. Change your language. I get to go to work today. Imagine you had no job. Be worse, right? Because otherwise you wouldn't be working. So you get to go to work. I have to fix the car. At least you have a car. You get to fix your car. Most people don't got one. I have to go get the kids. You get to go get the kids because you have these beautiful children who love you. You understand? People's even their own language is wrong. The world can be framed. Maybe I'm completely crazy. Maybe I'm full of shit, like you said. Maybe I am. But the frames I've installed in my mind are all beneficial to me. So if that makes me crazy and full of shit, good. Because I can't become depressed. So you can sit there and tell me I'm full of shit while you're depressed, and I'm happy. And I would never want to adopt the thinking of a depressed person.
People will shield laziness with anything. No one wants to admit they're lazy. So they'll shield it with disbelief. That's a scam. Or, I don't work hard, I work smart. Bollocks. More cover. For just anything it takes to say, I don't want to work.
Do you believe in that? Work smart or not harder?
I believe in both.
Yeah.
But there's a time when it comes to work smart. And most people are trying to do the smart work before they do the hard work. It's kind of like talent, right? You don't notice if you're talented at something until all the hard work's done.
Yep.
I could be the most talented tennis player in the world, but I don't play tennis. So if I go down the tennis court, Joe Schmo's going to smoke me. I don't get to see my talent until I've worked so hard that I'm in the top 1%, and now I'm beating them because I have some God-given gift.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
You have to do the hard work first. If there's no hard work, there's no smart work. So someone's going to sit there and go, I work smart, I don't work hard, so I only have to work an hour a day. If working smart gets you a lot done in an hour a day, then you should work smart for 12 hours a day and get 12 times the work done. I am absolutely and utterly a believer in hard work. I'm a proponent of hard work. I have all this money and all I do is work. My entire life is work. This podcast is work. I'm getting in the car and going to another meeting, work. I want to go to the gym so I'm in good shape, work. It's all work. My entire life is work. And people don't want to look at life that way. They want to talk about work-life balance and being lazy and all this crap. I don't believe in any of that. I believe in if you want to win, you have to outcompete the man who's prepared to do nothing but work. It's player versus player. If you're going to sit there and go, I don't want to work more than an hour a day, well, the guy who does want to work more than an hour a day is going to beat you. And no matter how smart you are, there's always a smart dude who's doing the same smart work you are for more hours than you're doing it. That's just the nature of the game. The way that humans work and the way that we've evolved as a species is that we don't really learn lessons unless they're learned the hard way.
Yeah.
I believe that unless a lesson has taught the hard way, you're not going to learn it. You can have so many near misses and people won't learn their lesson. Bro, you must know a guy who goes out there, nearly crashes his car, doesn't slow his ass down until he wrecks it.
Yeah.
Like, this is how people are, right? So you need that pain for the lesson to sting enough to really genuinely go inside of your mind. And it's the same with everything. It's the same with driving a car or business. Truthfully, if you want to learn a lesson about business, you're going to have to suffer at some point, right? So we always say that most people are not successful with their first companies, X, Y, Z, blah, blah, blah. I get that. The truth is there's a lot of people who make a lot of money with their first company, but they just spunk it, act an idiot, and it all blows up in their face. And that's how you get the discipline on your fourth company that when you have 3 million in the bank, you just leave it there. You know, and don't be done with it. So you need to go through some pain. You need to experience some negative things. You need to have to a degree some trauma to really even learn any lessons. So yeah, business studies, you're right. The book, that's not going to teach you anything about business. You need to get out there on the streets. You need to make mistakes. You need to suffer. You need to have the tax man knocking at your door. You got to deal with all that stuff so that you make sure it doesn't happen again. I really think that humans are stupid enough to only learn the hard way. And life really doesn't have to be that complicated. When you see somebody that has something you want, you just got to try and work out how they got it.
Yeah.
And that's the missing part. Most people see people with things they want and they don't do the second half. They don't try and work out how they got that thing. Oh, my man has a Ferrari. Okay. I wish I had a Ferrari. Okay. They don't sit there and go for an hour. How did he get a Ferrari? It doesn't cross that part is the part they don't want to do, right? They just go, oh, here's a Ferrari. Wish I had a Ferrari. And they go back to TV.
Yeah.
And that's why they lose. It's player versus player out here, man. It's on the street. It's not easy. For every dollar you make, for every pound you take, you took it from someone else. You don't make money. You take money. People don't understand the way that money works. You're not the Federal Reserve. You can't create money from thin air. Every single pound in your bank is money you took from someone else. And when I say take, I don't mean it in a negative way. You might have convinced them to give it to you. You might have a coffee shop. I'll give you a nice coffee. You'll give me some money. Cool. But you still took his money. Yeah. Right? So if you're out here trying to take stuff from other people, don't you want to have a team? You want to do it by yourself? You want to be Rambo?
Because if you get two of you doing it.
You get two of you. That's right. So the whole idea of this lone soldier, this Rambo, I'll do it all by myself. That's all dead, bro. You need to have a team. It's player versus player. And for the same reason, if you were out here on the street and you want to defend yourself, you want your boys around you. It's the same thing with trying to get rich. If you're laughing with your boys, the brokey days are great. And I'm not complaining about being rich. Obviously, I worked hard for this and it's a fantastic life I live now. But I think without those brokey days, without those original days to compare it to, without that juxtaposition, then I don't think being rich would be fun at all. I think it's only fun because you can compare it to the days when you weren't rich. That's the only thing that makes it fun. The only thing that makes my $10,000 steak fun is that you can laugh saying how you never had 10 grand in your bank till you were 27 years old. Yeah. Like otherwise it's boring. Otherwise okay, steak. And I think if you're born with too much money, that you'll never truly be happy. I think you need the brokey days. They're the best days. They're the best.
You meet somebody wealthy, their family at one point was not wealthy. And then the one shows up. One person changes the family tree forever. In my family, I'm the one. And it wasn't because I wanted it or I hoped for it. I fought for it. I want to fight for my family. I want my mom and dad proud of me. I want me proud of me. I want to look in the mirror and be happy with the man I look back at, that he gave it everything, that he went for it. That's what I want for you. I want you to be happy with you, not cool. I've seen all kinds of cool guys my whole career. Cool guys go broke. They have a good 2 or 3 years. Players who implement strategies that get focused and intense, they win decades. You got to win year after year after year. I'm almost 50 years old, man. I've got a loaded calendar. I'm after it. I'm not casual. I want to win. You hear me? Wake up. You want to win? You want to be a millionaire? You got to quit being so casual. You walk slow. You implement things slow. You talk a good game like you're going to be somebody. Business is a sport. It's competitive. You got to get focused and get in a hurry. Wake up, brother. If you make a couple of these adjustments, man, you could change your life. You could change your family forever. It's not casual. You can change the chapters in the book of your life if you want to. You're the author. It might be year 2, 3, 4 before you get your big win, but you could decide now, I'm going to walk, talk, and be a different person. You're the lead character in the story of your life. But too many of you let what I call the extras of life dictate where you're going. Y'all hear me? Here's the truth. Most people's dreams can be bought. With enough failure, they will sell their children's dreams. They can't still fight. With a little success or a whole bunch of failure, most people will sell their will to win. Some of you have sold it because you're making a little bit of money. You don't work like you did when you were making nothing. Some of you will sell your win for some failure. You're probably buyable. But if you decide it's my will cannot be bought, I'll keep fighting for my family. I'm the one. I'm going to change my family tree forever. Decide now. You're going to keep negotiating the price, or can you not be bought?
That is you. That is you. That no one can do it for you but you. You must understand that. I remember I was playing a game with my 9-year-old son, John Leslie, and I beat him 10 straight games in a game called Connect 4. And I got up. I said, I'm ready to go to sleep now. John Leslie said, no, you can't go now, Dad. I said, why? He said, it's not over until I win. We sat down and we played several other games. And finally, John Leslie won, and he got up and he yawned. And he said, I'm ready to go to sleep now. What if all of us took that attitude after we face a rejection and a no, or we have a meeting and no one shows up? What if we have that kind of attitude? The car's repossessed. Nobody believes in you, but you're still looking at your dream. Say to yourself, it's not over until I win. It's possible. I can live my dream. It's me. I've got to make it happen. It's not over until I win. As you run toward your dream, it's necessary that you have goals, that you write those goals down, that you plan. It's also necessary that you look for ways to always find a way to pull it out when everybody else thinks that you are defeated. But the next thing, ladies and gentlemen, I want to share with you that some of you already know that it's hard. It was hard when just over 3 years ago, and I fell on some hard times, and I was sleeping in my office. It was hard coming into the lobby, and the security said, "Can we see you for a moment?" And he gave me an envelope. And the envelope was from management that said, "This is an office tower. Do not sleep in your office." And it was hard coming through the lobby. And sometimes they would laugh. There's a guy talking about becoming successful. He's bathing in the bathroom upstairs. He sleeps on the floor. Look at him. It was hard, ladies and gentlemen, coming to speak to people. I was behind on my bills and my dreams, and I'm saying to them, you can live your dream. It was hard, ladies and gentlemen. There were times that I doubted myself. I said, "God, why is this happening to me? I'm not trying to steal or rob from anybody. Why did this have to happen to me?" And here's what I want to say to you. Don't give up on your dream. No one could have convinced me by holding on, by continuing to push forward, that one day I would have my own talk show from Liberty City, an abandoned building on a floor, never knowing my mother or father. It's a long shot. No college training, labeled educable, mentally retarded, but I kept running toward my dream. Don't stop. Don't stop running toward your dream. There are moments when you're going to doubt yourself. There are rough times that are going to come, but they have not come to stay. They have come to pass. It's very important for you to believe that you are the one. Begin to envision yourselves as being blessed and highly favored to reach your goals. That you can make your parents proud. You can touch millions of people's lives, and the world will never be the same again because you came this way. But that's why you're here, because you are the one. It's not going to be easy. It was hard laying on the floor, looking out of the window, daydreaming, saying, "Les, can you do this? Can you make this happen?" And something said within me, "You're the one. You're the one."
Andrew, question for you, bro. So you mentioned traditional women.
Yeah.
Where do you find them nowadays? Where do you find these women, bro?
Firstly, you find a traditional woman because you have to make a traditional woman. You can't find a woman. You have to make a woman. You have to teach her and guide her. She has to learn from you. She has to grow from you. So you need to find a woman early enough in her career path of running around dating men before her to do anything detrimental to her psyche where she cannot absorb the lessons which you want to preach upon her. A good woman makes her man feel braver. She inspires him. She makes him want to work hard. Good women are extremely powerful forces of nature, as are good men. And I think the first thing you need to do is be the best version of yourself. And if enough people do that, then society will be fixed. But the truth is, as a man, if you have a good woman can be the best thing about your life and your greatest source of strength. And if you have a bad woman, a woman can make or break a man's life. Same job, same house, same car, same dog, same sofa, same bed. Different reality. Yeah. Bro, different reality. And even worse, you'll notice this the most when you have a girl who flips, who was cool, and now she ain't. And you're like, everything was good. Now you're upset. What? Over what? And you'll see. But a woman can make or break a man's life. To answer the question we asked earlier, if you're at home and it's Valentine's Day and you're sad, etc., good. Good. You're lucky and you're blessed, and you need that mental reframe. And it's amazing how powerful a mental reframe can be. I think a lot of people even underestimate that the exact same scenario with a complete different reframe of it can change the outcome and all the lessons you learn from it. When bad things happen to me, my first answer is good. I've trained myself. This has happened. Good. Good. It's supposed to happen. Good. And that's the ultimate reframe. Because if you're going to sit there and go, "Oh, why me?" You got to do it yourself. You need all these bad things to happen to you, and you have to use them as fuel.
I think all the bad things that happen to you in your life are extremely important. I think pain is one of the most important elements of the alchemy that's required to become the most fantastic version of yourself. If you look at any superhero movie, the superhero had pain. Batman's Batman because they killed his parents. If they didn't kill his parents, he simply wouldn't be Batman. And I think a lot of men, when bad things happen to them or heartbreak, etc., they don't understand that all that pain that's been given to you in that scenario is extremely important and valuable. Probably the worst experience as a man is to go through life and everything go right all of the time. Actually, imagine that. You're born, you wake up, everything's fine. Your girl ain't going to leave, and you don't have to go gym, and no one's going to try and fight you, and your bills are always paid. That sounds depressing to me. Genuinely. All these bad things are supposed to happen to you so you can level up. You're supposed to go through the pains so you can get better. It's a universal law it's a constant of the universe. Even if you want to build bigger muscles, you have to destroy the old ones. That's how they grow bigger, right? You want to be more resilient. You want to be more observant. You want to be more capable of dealing with negative scenarios or heartbreak or bad things happening to you. Well, then you better get used to pain. Pain is the flavor of life. And the people who try and change the flavor are never going to be as competitive as the people who eat it up and go, okay, that's what it tastes like. Fine by me. Give me some more. And those are the ones who get very good at it. So if you're sitting here at home and you're sad, fantastic. I'm a little bit jealous. I'm genuinely a little bit jealous. Bad things are supposed to happen to you, but you have to use them as fuel. You can't sit there and let the bad things happen to you and feel sorry for yourself. You got to take all that pain and turn it into something good. That's your responsibility as an adult. Yeah, I think men have a natural, innate masculine instinct to protect and to provide. Yep. If you're a man who has this stuff in order, you naturally want to protect those you care about. And you naturally want to provide for them. You have no problem paying their bills and taking care of them. A good man has no problem paying the bills for his woman and paying the bills for his kids and making sure they're safe. That's what a man wants to do when he has his things in order. If you're the kind of man who doesn't feel that way innately, there's something wrong with you. And there's probably
50-50 is unacceptable, guys.
Yeah, and there's probably something wrong with you because you're not being the best version of yourself. And it's amazing how easily you'll do the things you're supposed to do when you're the man you're supposed to be. And if you focus on making sure you're as strong and rich and smart and hardworking and intelligent as possible, and if you're careful with the company you keep, both male and female, and you have friends, like that's what's so important about masculine networks. So if you're the good person around the right people, you're going to end up affecting everyone around you. You can't go through the world without leaving a ripple effect. And that's why you have to be your best version of yourself. And that ripple effect is going to be vast and it's going to be continuous into space time. And you don't know how the butterfly effect works. You don't know about you being a nice, courteous person, holding that door open that one time, how that can affect someone's life in such a positive way, or smiling at someone when they do something nice to you, or helping someone who needs help. You can be a genuinely good person, but to do that, you need to be a man of capability. And you need to understand that the whole world can be fixed if men and people get their act in order. And I truly believe that all of this falls on men. But I actually believe that men are meant to lead, and women in general, as a general rule, when they find a man they respect, they follow him. And I know that because if you meet a good woman and she loves you, all of a sudden she likes the music you like. Yep. She likes the cars you like. She believes the politics you believe. She watches the shows you watch. So if we have such a problem with women,
she plays the games you play.
All of it. So we have such a problem in the world today. That's down to a huge lack of masculine role models and a huge lack of men doing their job. Because as much as we laugh and clown on women, etc., if you're a man who has his stuff in order, you're going to find a woman who's loyal to you. And they do exist. It's all about taking accountability as a person, blaming yourself for absolutely everything so that you have power over the situation, because you have no power if you blame the world. If you blame women for everything, you have no control. Yeah. If you blame yourself, you have control over the situation. And I think that if men get their act together, you'll be surprised how that will expand out towards society and how not only your life gets better, but the life of everyone you care about, everyone you meet, everyone you interact with, their lives get better by extension. And that's what we need to fix society. I think that the universe or God or whoever you want to call it, I think they know what they're doing. You're going to get exactly what you deserve in this life. And if you don't have the things you want, quite often you don't actually deserve them. And if you start acting in a way where you do deserve them, you'll be surprised how quickly and easily they appear. You'll see. And a lot of you are sloppy and lazy, and you don't care to look back and realize where you've been sloppy or lazy, or realize where you've made mistakes. And then you're not understanding why your life is constant blunders and bluffs. Well, that's because you keep making mistakes. But if we look at it in a more universal and as a more meta point, I love that the world is hyper competitive. And when you're extremely successful, you do. I love the fact that women only want to date men with lots of money because I have lots of money. And I love the fact that women want to date men with good bodies who are strong because I'm strong. It's fantastic. I would actually be devastated if women change their minds, because I like it being that competitive, because I like to win, and I have no problem with the competition. I have no problem with war. If you're going to sit and go, women shouldn't think this way, what you're actually doing, and you may not realize you're doing this, but you're speaking to the universe and saying, I can't win, so I want to change the rules of the game. Good point. I think you should apply a completely different mindset. If women sit there and say, I want this, 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 and this, I am never offended by that, because I sit there and go, yep. Okay. All right. Text me then.
I'm winning.
So I'm winning. So I think you should look at these things as a man. How can you, as a man, take absolute self-accountability? Yep. You can blame her, and you can blame women, we can blame society, all those things. That's true. But the best thing you can do is sit there and go, well, let me make sure I don't fall into any category where I can be disqualified. Yeah. And then you don't have to worry about any of these things. And the best thing about being a man, in fact, the only good thing about being a man, because being a man is much harder than being a woman. You're born with no value. You don't matter. Your life is hard. The only good thing about being a man is that it's a harder version of the game of life. It's a more difficult version of consciousness. And if you play a harder video game, you get a higher score. If you're a top tier male, it's the best possible experience. There are dudes out there who are jealous of chicks because chicks get attention, because they're like, those girls get to go here, these girls get to go there. But if you were at our level getting to do it as a man, not as a chick, as a man,
it's better. It's
much better. It's always going to be better.
Yeah.
So we have the best possible chance to live the best possible life. All you have to do is be man enough to get your stuff in order. And this is something that's really true about the world. And I say this all the time. People often say it's okay to fail if you try your best. But I will argue, if you try your best, you will never fail. If you try your best, you will not actually fail. If you get up every day and do what you're supposed to do. I've never seen a person get up every day, eat right, hit the gym twice a day, every day, eat properly, sleep as much as they're supposed to, their supplements are in order, doing their absolute best, who was not in good shape. I've never seen it. It's literally physically impossible.
Yeah.
So you either want it or you don't. And it's the same with absolutely everything else. A lot of people go, I've been trying. If you were really trying for the amount of time you've said you've been trying, you wouldn't still be in the position you're in. And that's the truth. When you're truly trying your best, people often ask me, they say, well, if women love money, why are they with these guys or these broke guys, or why are they with this guy who's trying to come up? I think if you're actually really trying your best in your life and you're doing your very best to build a life, even if you don't have it yet, I think people can smell it. Not just women. Men. Ambition. People can smell the they can see their life's in order. Something's right. You can call it magic. You can call it energy. Loud. You can call it something.
Potential is very loud.
And it's kind of amazing that guys will sit and they'll go, oh, what do I do about this girl? How do I get this girl? And they'll send super chats. How do I get this girl? How do I get that girl? If you actually just do the things you know you're supposed to be doing and get your life in order, you'd be amazed how quickly it all falls together. It's like everything else. In chess, good moves come from good positions. Boxing, you land the good punch because you're standing in the right place at the right time. You do the right things. The rest of it's actually pretty easy. And as bad as this world is, and as difficult as women are, and feminism and all these things, I promise you, if you're acting the way a man should act, with honor, integrity, you're hardworking, you're perspicacious, and you have perseverance, and you do all the things you're supposed to do, you're going to find a loyal woman who adores you. You're going to find it. You can be in the worst. You can be in Miami, Ratchet City, but you'll find a girl who's obsessed with you if you're doing all the things you're supposed to do. Even if you're not a millionaire yet, but if you're doing the things you're supposed to do. It's kind of beautiful how God will give that to you if you finally get your act together. If you're working hard, training hard, showing you're brave, showing that you're not afraid. This is some of the things that I think people don't understand as well. We talk about emotionality in men and how women find it unattractive. And I actually agree by and large, if you cry in front of your chick, to a degree, she'll lose respect for you. But it depends why, and there's always nuance and scenarios where that changes. If you're crying out of frustration or crying like a girl because you can't fix something, then I think she'll lose a lot of respect for you. But if you're sitting there furious with tears running down your face because you're about to go kill the man who hurt her, she ain't going to lose respect for you. That's different. So again, even a lot of the other arguments, a lot of the things we talk about emotionality in men or all these things or crying, etc. It ties back to the basic premise. I'll tell you now, I would argue with all my money and all my status and all of my physical attributes and how handsome I am. And if a woman felt like she wasn't safe with me, like I would allow something to happen to her and I wouldn't do anything about it, she'd leave. Sooner or later, she'd leave. And she might leave me for the thug who would kill a dude who looked at her wrong. And maybe he's too far the other way. But they crave that safety. There's no light without dark. And if you want a woman to truly respect you, she needs to rely on you for everything. But you better not fail her. And you have a huge responsibility as a man. You got massive responsibility. You can't be the guy who says, I don't know. Bro, when she comes to you and says, this is broken, and you go, I don't know. She's going to look at you like, what? Who are you? Even if you don't know, you got to find someone who does know and pay the price and get it fixed. That's your job as a man. And you just start saying, I'll just tell her I love her all the time. Everyone on Instagram tells her they love her. And eventually she'll check one of their profiles and he's got a nicer car than you and he's better looking than you. And it's just a slow ticking time bomb. And we can apply this to relationships and everything else. You don't own anything. Everything is rented. You have a nice business, you stop working on it, you go broke. You have a nice body, you stop training, you lose it. You have love, you stop working on it, you lose that too. Everything is rented. And I'll tell you the number one thing in the world that's rented that most people don't realize is that there is your woman's respect for you. You can't start slipping because you start slipping and the trap is they make you slip.
Yes.
Just eat this food. The superpower is to never be slipping. I'll even tell you now, this is a personal story, it's a personal experience, but women have said to me, you always live with your boys. Why are you always with your boys? I'd like to live with you. But they never leave me because living with my boys is what keeps me sharp. That's why I am the man they're in love with in the first place. If I live with just them, you're never going to be the same as when you're with the predators. You're never going to train as hard. You're never going to keep your head on a swivel the same. You've got to have that warrior instinct. So when we talk about a woman's respect being rented for you, that comes down to so many tiny things. It comes down to the fact that your phone is charged and your gas tank is full and you're organized. Bro, some of my best conversations are me sitting with my girl and talking about what we would do when World War III comes. What we're going to do what we would do if someone tried to break into our house. Well, they can't, baby, because I put a gate there and I've got armed guards. I've got bulletproof doors. Look, here's a Glock. I got this here. I didn't know that gun was there. Of course I do, baby. I got everything. Like, they love hearing that. They don't love it. They love hearing that more than anything.
Stay ready.
Stay ready. Because that's what they expect from you as a man. I'll tell you, nothing will turn a chick on more than you telling her how you'll fight the entire world to save her. But they also expect it of you. And it doesn't matter how liberal the relationship. Doesn't matter how feminist the girl and guy. If they're walking down the street and a man comes up to attack them, she's going to expect her man to do something.
Damn right.
She's going to expect him to do something. I think one of the few things left you can offer as a man that social media cannot yet replace us for is security and safety. I think it is your primary objective to make a woman feel safe. And I think if you can do that, she will feel something intrinsic that is aligned with her biology that she can't get from social media. And if you do it well and you're good at your job, in fact, her being famous on social media, having so much attention, ties into her needing safety even more. And I think that security and safety can be physical, it can be financial, it can be in a lot of different ways. But if you say to a woman, look, you can get a bunch of attention on Instagram, sure. You can make some money on Instagram, sure. A bunch of men are going to message you on Instagram, sure. But I'm the only one who's going to make sure nothing bad happens to you. I'm the only one who's going to make sure you don't make mistakes. I'm the only one who's going to make sure that you are taken care of. And if there's a problem, you can call me no matter what. And that requires a degree of competence and capability. But I feel like, and I'm just talking from personal experience, if you can't make a woman feel safe nowadays in lots of different regards, both physical and financial, and even intellectually safe, if you're competent and a woman comes to you with her problem, it takes you less than a fraction of a second to tell her what to do.
Yeah.
If you can make her feel safe, you can compete with the machine mind. But if you can't give her that safety feeling anymore, if you're Joe Schmo and you can't do it, or if you don't feel like, or if she doesn't look at you as a man who she can come to for guidance or advice, if you can't give her safety, I don't think you can compete with Instagram. I think you're going to lose, no matter how much money you have or how much attention you give her. You can't give her more attention than the world will give her on Insta. You can't. Safety's all we have left, which ties into why it's so important you need to be a masculine man in the first place. She needs to look at you. My girl says to me all the time, you're my hero. You're like a hero. You're like a superhero. You're like the heroes. I know nobody can touch me because you stop them. Like, you have to give that feeling of safety now.
You do.
Otherwise, I don't think you could compete. So then you have to sit down as a man and go, okay, I have this woman. I really love her. She has this Instagram page. She's getting money, attention, validation, all these things from there. I want to make her feel safe. How do I do that without coming across like a controlling weirdo? Well, she needs to truly respect me and allow me to have enough guidance and enough control over her life for her to feel as safer as a person, for her to respect me as a man and respect my competence. But I feel like striving to give your woman safety is now more important than ever. Safety is one of the last true emotional biological triggers that women have left. Truthfully, if you care about your woman, you should be doing this anyway. If you live in Phoenix, Arizona, and you see girls who get murdered in Phoenix, Arizona, you need to send that news article to your chick.
Yes.
That's not
dark side at all.
That's not being manipulative. That's saying, look, everyone thinks it won't happen to them till it happens.
It happens.
Look at this. Here's how, and then ask her as an adult. You're an adult. How do you think, look at the scenario, read the article. Why did this happen to her? Well, first it was 9:30 at night. Secondly, she was by herself. Thirdly, she was riding a bike. Like, how do we make sure this never happens to you? Do you understand that I wouldn't be able to continue with my life and be the same person if I lost you? How do I make sure this never happens to you? My number one goal is not to stop you having fun and not to stop you living your life, but I feel like as a man, I need to protect you. Here's this, that. Once you show your intention is truly for her safety, she's going to be far more likely. She'll have a much higher propensity to listen to what you say, because that's the last thing left you can offer as a man. Now, if you're lazy,
Really good point.
if you're lazy, if you don't train, if you don't know how to fix the fridge, if you come across as incompetent, if you're sloppy, if you're slow, then she's not going to believe you when you try these things, because she can say, well, what would you do anyway? I have genuinely never been, or every single girl who knows me, whenever they watch the movie, and this is, I swear to God, when they watch Taken, they message me. They say, you'd do that, wouldn't you? So, of course, top G. They believe Liam Neeson my way, because I'm that guy.
Yeah.
I'm that guy in their mind. I mean, you got to be that guy. I've had my girl say to me, can I go here? And I say, no. I don't trust those people, or it's dark, or I'm not around, or I don't really want you to go there. And she'll say, I'm so glad you said no. And I'll say, what do you mean? She goes, I don't know. I'm just glad you said no. I feel safer. I feel happier that you won't even let me go.
Yeah.
You can't get your girl to listen. If I tell her not to go, she's more happy I won't let her. And that's kind of where, I guess also, if we go further down the rabbit hole, you can also apply this to other things. If you say to a girl, don't go to the club, why? You're right, but the reason you're telling her reeks to a degree of insecurity. Now, you're right, and you can do it the right way. But if you were to say, I don't think you should be going out, bad things happen, I care about you, and I want to make sure you're okay, I'll take you out, but I don't think you should be going out. And she's like, I really want to go. You're like, all right, cool. I'm trying to protect you here. I'm your man, and I believe it's my job to keep you safe in all realms. If you want to disobey my orders, well, then how can I be responsible for making sure you're safe? But now you're not speaking from a position of insecurity. You're speaking from a position of authority and respect and capability and competence, which is a different thing. And I don't think many men even do that. I'll say to my women, be home before dark. They can be 28 years old. And I'll be like, well, it's dark at 6. Yep, I want you home before dark. Bad things happen in the world. I want you home because I love you. Life experience is always going to be valuable, no matter what it is. Especially when you're young, you're going to get your heart broken a bunch of times. Some bigger, older, richer dude's going to take that chick. Heartbreak is the most fantastic motivator on the planet. When a lot of men message me and say they're heartbroken, I think that is the most fantastic mindset to be in to achieve things. Because there is that degree of revenge, and there is that degree of vengeance, and that can only be achieved through being so successful, so monumentally important that she can't forgive you. And also, you cannot even sleep. You can't even concentrate. Like, your whole mind's a mess. That's the perfect time to train. I only mention heartbreak all the time because I know it's a path every single young man goes through. There's up and down. There's rain and sunshine. You have to be that man who's going to go through it all. If you're a man who has a heart broken, why did this happen? You have to know the why to prevent it from happening. You have to analyze the scenario and learn from it. One of the things women are best at is they're a fantastic mirror. Women are a reflection. If you have any weakness inside of you, or if you have any downfalls as a person, a woman's going to show you who they are. If you're too emotional, if you're too easy to get angry, she'll teach you that. She'll teach you that you can get angry too fast. Piss her off. If you're small, she'll tell you. She'll tell you exactly what is wrong with you when she is mad. She'll sit there and say, you got a short leg and your haircut shit. Get a new haircut. I hate your ugly ass. They'll tell you exactly what is wrong with you. When you look at your bad or your previous relationships with women that went wrong, you can sit there and go, okay, this all went wrong. What has she taught me? She taught me that I'm emotionally affectable. She taught me that if she ignores me, she gets more attention than if she's nice to me. You have to sit there and analyze all the lessons, and you have to implement them. It's the same with absolutely everything. But women are a fantastic mirror. A lot of these guys who resort to that are men who don't have the self-reflection to sit and say, okay, why did this happen? As a man, you have to be accountable for absolutely everything. Every single thing that happens is your fault. You made her leave you. You did. Whether you like it or not, you are the reason she became so cold. You are the reason she doesn't listen anymore. You are the reason she's so arrogant all 100%. Of a sudden. You are. You may not have identified why yet, but if you identify why, then you get into your next relationship healed and understanding what you did wrong and learn from it. That's what you have to do. But most of these men don't want the self-accountability, and they want to blame the women. You have to blame yourself. I know when to set a boundary, when to be nice. I know exactly what to do because I've self-analyzed. A lot of these red pill guys, they want to do exactly like you said, just run around and just bang chicks because they've never looked in the mirror and go, why do these chicks not want to just love me? Why am I a up. You're not perfect. There's a lot you learn, but you have to self-reflect and learn and pay attention to the mirror. These men who are afraid of commitment are not blaming themselves like they should. I actually truly believe that women in their hearts, unless they're completely corrupted by society, women just want to love and be loved and feel safe. That's what they want. They want a man that they can look at and they truly know he makes the decisions and I trust him to make the decisions and I love him for that and I respect him for that. That's what they truly want. When a woman starts turning on you, it's usually because she doesn't trust you for some reason. She doesn't trust your judgment. If she starts to doubt your judgment, how can she truly love you? You're the protector. You're the provider. If a woman's gone cold on you, you have to sit there and go, okay, she doesn't trust my judgment. What have I done that made her doubt me? It's not her fault. It's your fault. Every single time a woman leaves you as a man, it is your fault. Always. Even if a richer, more successful, more alpha man stole her from you, it's still your fault because you need to be like him. It's always 100% your fault. These men don't take accountability. It's 100% their fault. People say to me, can you turn her into a housewife? And I say, listen, I wouldn't want to, but I bet I could. There ain't a woman alive who's going to cheat on me. With who? With who? With who? Who's she going to cheat on me with? Who the f*** is she going to cheat with? Nobody. There's not a girl alive I couldn't get loyalty from. Now, would I ever want to do it? Probably not. I like the idea of exclusivity. But once you get to a certain level, yeah. If you're that guy, you're that guy. Yeah, there's a very strange sense of terror that comes from knowing exactly what's going to happen to you. There's a strange sense of calm that comes from it also. But in the middle of the night, when you can't sleep, sometimes you feel happy knowing what they're trying to do to you, and sometimes you feel terrified knowing what they're trying to do to you. I think I'm very happy. Every single podcast I did previous to this, I hammered the point home and I made it very clear that they had the intention of trying to put me in jail. I said, there's 3 lives. They try and cancel you and slander you and destroy your name. They don't just want you to disappear from the internet. They want you to disappear from the internet in a cloud of shame. They have to shame you, which is why they chose the crimes they did for me, and it's why they usually choose the crimes they choose, because it's heinous. They want to shame you, and they want you to disappear with your head facing the ground and never pop up again. Obviously, they attempted to cancel me, and I became more famous than ever before. I even said to you on your podcast, and I said on other podcasts, I said, I think they made a mistake. I think when you have power and you overuse it, what happens is a rebellion. That's how a revolution starts. When you have power, you have to be very, very careful with how you use that power. The second you overuse it, there's a revolution, and we're in Romania, so they know all about that. That's exactly what happens. And I said at the time, I think I was a mistake. I think they made a big mistake canceling me the way they did. And then the second time, the second life, which I described as they try and put you in jail for no reason. Here we are in the current scenario. I knew it was going to happen. And the third one is they put a bullet in your head. So we're going to have to see how the second life plays out. And yeah, I mean, when this is all over and I win the court case and I get the not guilty, I won't be smiling. I'll be walking out the courtroom with my head on a swivel. That's the kind of life I'm living now. I'm going to be thinking, oh, okay, so their second attempt failed. Now what? Like, do I want to fly private anymore? Do I want to go that place anymore? You start to think about these things. Like, do I want to do these things? A lot of billionaires dying in plane crashes. It's strange. So it's scary, regardless of how it plays out. And I guess you just have to go with the punches and see where it lands. And God has a plan for me and for all of us, and we're just going to see how it ends up. I want to make it very clear, and I make it clear on absolutely every single podcast, I would never kill myself. I don't care what they say. I don't care what video they show you. Never under any circumstance would I kill myself. It's haram. Never. I don't care if they put me back in the dungeon, solitary confinement by myself for the rest of my human years. I would never kill myself. Ever. Ever. So if that ever happens, God forbid, do not believe whatever garbage they tell you. The chance of me killing myself is precisely 0. They have to damage my influence. They have to damage my influence. They can't sit there and let me be influential because I'm saying things that they don't like me saying. And there are people sitting around going, he's saying things counter to our message and counter to our narrative. Get rid of it. And they have a pretty standardized playbook. And this is probably one of the first times in history where their playbook just isn't working. Cancel him. He's still around. Oh, well, lie about him in the news. Just say he touches chicks. Well, no one believes it. Oh, all the comments are on his side. Everyone's calling us liars. Okay, then do it again. Then do it again. Make up a new girl. Then do it again. Find someone else. Yeah. And they keep attacking me with the same weapons, but the bullets are bouncing off. And that doesn't give me a sense of calm. That doesn't make me think, ha ha ha, I'm invincible. It makes me think, uh-oh. It makes me think, uh-oh, because human life is cheap at the top. It's very cheap. It's interesting because sometimes I analyze myself and think, why don't I just do that? Why don't I just disappear? You know, I don't need money. I don't need fame. Why don't I just disappear? And then you have to, I was saying this to my brother, and he was like, well, Genghis Khan didn't need Vienna. Some people are just wired that way. Like, Vienna's a long way from Kathmandu. sometimes that's just the way it is. Or Ulaanbaatar, I apologize, the capital of Mongolia. That's just the way some people are. If I see injustice, and if I see things which I believe to be false, I feel like I am obligated to say the truth. I can't explain why, even if at my own detriment. What am I doing this for? Like, it's to the detriment of my life. And I've had these conversations at length with the people close to me, and we're all saying the same thing. It's always been the same way. Humanity's always been the same way. There's been a select, small, few good men up against evil, and evil always outnumbers you. Evil always has more money than you. They always have more power and more influence than you. If you play any video game, when you get to the end boss, he always has more life than you. He always has more hit points, but you're the good guy. And it's kind of like, it's never been any different. At any point in human history, there's been the good guys up against the forces of evil, whatever they were at the time, and you've always been outnumbered, and you've always been supposed to lose. Well, instead of saying who, I will say, what I will start by saying is what they do. And what they do is they control information. And we now live in an information society, and by controlling information, they control how people think and act and react to things. That's all they have to do. They have to control information, and they have to be very selective with what they allow you to talk about and what they allow you to discuss and what they don't. And once they can do that, they can keep you bickering about garbage, and they can control the sensitive information, and then they run the world. So having all the information controlled and having this hard barrier on what can be discussed, that's how they can purport absolute fallacies. I think now it's been a couple years, we can probably talk about it. They psyoped the world into believing they should be afraid of the common cold. They psyoped the world into this. And if you think about how difficult that would be to do, how difficult would it be to psyop the entire population of Earth? Well, what you do is you just lie on repeat, and you don't allow anyone to say anything counter to it without hurting them the same way I've been hurt. And you just psyop them. It's actually amazing, because now I use that exact same psyop on people. I love it. I love it. So when I sit with someone who's not matrix-minded, when I sit with someone who is matrix-minded, like when the BBC walked in here, I'm like, do you all have your vaccinations? Social distancing. Did you actually? 100%. Social distancing, please. And they look at me like I'm crazy. Well, how am I crazy? 2 years ago, you were telling me to do this. Now when I repeat your own worldview to you, I'm crazy. Well, if I'm crazy, guess what? You're a fucking liar, because you lied the whole time. So either you're a liar or I'm not. You know, how can I be nuts? Put your fucking mask on. If I ever talk to any of these clowns again, they're going to be fully masked up. And I refuse. I don't care if you've had 2 booster jabs. No, I want all 6. All 6 injections. I want paperwork. Or get fucked.
You're not coming in the house.
Good fuck. I'm scared of COVID. It's dangerous. I believe the mainstream media. I'm scared.
This word you keep using, PSYOP, I've never heard this word. It's short for psychological operations?
Correct.
Break that down. What exactly is a PSYOP?
Yeah, a PSYOP is the matrix as a whole. It's like psychological operations are constant. They constantly decide how they want you to think and what they can do to make you believe that, right? There's a whole bunch of them they do. But it starts with tolerance. That's what I don't like about this whole guise of tolerance. It's not that I'm an intolerant person. It's not that I'm a bad person. It's not that I want to hurt other people. But when they keep pushing tolerance, what they're trying to say is have no standards or barriers or parameters for anything. That's what they want. You have to be tolerant. Tolerant of what? Tolerant of having your shop set on fire, tolerant of your kids being taught things you don't want, tolerant of crime, tolerant of your house being broken into. But tolerant of what? You're not allowed any hard barrier or any hard parameters as a man anymore. That's why they push tolerance. That's the beginning of it. That's the first stage. Once you accept absolute tolerance, well then it's the end, isn't it? I'm tolerant of everything. I'll eat the bugs. Sure.
You'll tolerate everything.
I'll tolerate everything. I'm tolerant. Sure. So when I say things like I'm intolerant of certain things and people think that's bad, no, you need to have standards and parameters. And that's one of the reasons they also attack me. I say that men should be allowed to have standards and parameters in a relationship and in their lives. We should be allowed to decide who we want to marry, and we should have standards for her. They have standards for us. We should allow ourselves to have standards for her. We should have standards in what we'll accept from a government and standards in what we'll accept from a police force. We should have standards as men. But they're trying to erode all of that, because once that's gone, then your brain is completely empty. And then once your brain's empty, they can just plug in the slave program, and then it's over, right? You're a tolerant person. You're a tolerant person. Good. You're a good slave. Slaves are exceptionally tolerant.
They're good for different things, man. But they both have the same basic worldviews, the same basic what's the word I'm looking for? Propaganda. The same. They're trying to hypnotize you in the same way, right? And it's all done on purpose. I think we've discussed this before, and we'll discuss it certainly a bit later, but they're trying to destroy the masculine imperative to prevent revolution. So it's all kind of the same. There's certain things I respect about each country. But it was good to certainly at a young age move around a bit as well. It allowed me to never ever really settle in a school and make a bunch of good friends or anything like that. So I always understood, even from a young age, how to make people like me quickly, and also how unimportant the relationships with those people were, right? I wasn't a kid who's like, oh, I'm going to miss my best friend. I was like, okay, you were my best friend for 2 years. Peace. I'm out. I was like that. So that's probably another reason why me and my brother are so close. So yeah, it was a good upbringing. I can't have nothing bad to say about it. I was just raised by the OG. My dad was a G. Big, black, chess master, huge, drinking, gambling, pimping. Like, he's just out here. He was just that guy, right? So he was like that to the end. So he was a hero. Yeah. So chess, I mean, obviously my father was a chess master, right? So I had to learn the game. He sat me down. I spent a lot of time learning it. And to this day, I have massive respect for chess. So much respect for the game. It's so much harder at that world level than people can even fathom. Unless you even play the game, you can't even anticipate how good these people are at the game. They're effectively computers. I don't think you can even be good at chess at that level without having something a little bit wrong with you. You got to be on the spectrum somewhere. Do you know what I mean? Because it's crazy how good these guys are. But yeah, chess is an amazing thing. I still play chess every day. I'm not world level or anything. I'm around 1750, 1800 elo. If anyone knows chess, that's what I am. But yeah,
would that be considered better than average?
Certainly better than average. Yeah. You know, the average player, let's say, is around 1,000 or something.
Okay.
But my dad was 2,400.
Okay.
Or 2,500.
Damn.
So yeah. So I'll give you an example. My dad could beat me without looking at the board. So my dad would be in the kitchen, fucking around the kitchen, cooking dinner. I'd be in front of a chessboard in the living room, and I'd say E4. He'd say C6. Knight F3, Knight C3.
God
and
damn.
and he'd smoke me without looking at the board. That's how good the bet. It's insanity. Yeah. But I do think it's a good basis for life. There's certainly a lot of lessons in chess. There's certainly a lot you can attribute to chess from everyday life to the chessboard. And I think it's a good grounding mechanism. I enjoy to sit down for a good couple hours, win some games, lose some games. Yeah, absolutely. So I'll give you my favorite one first.
Yeah. Please do.
My favorite one is the difference between the king and the queen. Right? Because the king moves one square at a time. And the queen can just zip across the board. Right? So you're here in Miami, you're partying in Miami. They got all these parties right now. It's Art Basel, blah, blah, blah. You see all these chicks on a boat. For the man to get on that boat, it's one square at a time, right? He has to get a good job. He has to get his taxes right. He has to find a way to leverage credit. He has to meet the guy who sells the boats. He has to go through all this shit stage by stage by stage to finally pull off being on that yacht and having that yacht at the age of 56. A chick, what does she need? Lip fillers? Boom. Zip. On. She gets straight on. That's the difference between the king and the queen. But although the king is slower than the queen, he's the most important piece, right? The king can't die. The queen can die. The queen, sometimes you can be looking at a position and go, this is fucked up. The only way out of this is to sacrifice that bitch. Sometimes you can do it. I'll tell you a very quick story. This is a story I've never told before. When I was, how old was I? 23? When I was 23, I was dating a ballerina. She was the prima ballerina of the Cambridge Ballet School in England. And I had no money. I was a fighter, but I was coming up. I didn't really have any money. And she lived far away, like an hour and a half away, but she used to come see me, and we were good for like a year and a half. I loved this girl. Yeah. And she finished ballet school. She started dancing in clubs in London. She couldn't get any ballet work. Surprise, surprise. Who fucking wants ballet work, right? So she ends up doing like dancing and not stripping, but like dancing in the club, you know. Da-da. So now she's around all the London money every day. She's out dancing all the time. She's up late every night. She doesn't want to drive an hour and a half to come see me. None of this shit. So we're kind of falling apart a little bit. And she ended up talking to someone famous, David Hay. I don't know who he is. He's a boxer. So David Hay starts texting this bitch, right? Back and forth to the. So anyway, when I finally saw her again, she was like, we had an argument. She's like, well, you know what? You think you're a fighter? This guy, that guy, this guy, that guy. I'm like, look, if you're going to go fuck idiots, at least do it for money. And she's like, what do you mean? I was like, well, if you're going to go fuck idiots, at least get paid, because they don't give a fuck about you. Like, if you're going to play this game, at least do it for money.
Right.
So I had this argument with her back and forth, and I explained to her that these men are just going to use you. If you're going to do it, at least get paid. And when she left the house, Tristan said, why are you telling her to fuck other dudes? I'm like, no, I'm just understanding that in my chess position, I've lost this game.
Right.
The game is done now. Just sooner or later, she's out. All we do is argue. She's in the club every night. I'm just trying to say, before she leaves, maybe I can get a little bit of money.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the queen sacrifice, right?
Right.
We broke up 3 months later. I don't know if she fucked him or not, or who she fucked. I don't know. I never spoke to her since. But that's kind of the analogy you have to be able to apply to life. Sometimes chicks got to go.
Yeah.
Sometimes they have to go to save the king. And too many dudes, most of the time, men truly lose at life. It's because they've attached themselves to a queen and they won't let her up. They won't sacrifice her. No matter what, I promised I'm going to stick by you. this, our marriage vows, no matter what, no matter what. And they just stay on that sinking ship till she eventually leaves his ass. Even worse, what most queens do, I don't want to use queens, what most women do nowadays, especially in the West, I see women getting their men in trouble all the time. You know how many times I've seen chicks starting fights for their dude to have to mop up? My man's gonna and the man's like, oh, fucking shut up, man. There's 4 of them. Do you know what I mean? Like, even if he's a big dude, he's like, I don't really need this now today. You know what I'm saying? Man, another story. I have so many stories in my life. My life's been cool. Back around the same time, I'm 22, 23 years old, kickboxer. I was British champion. I wasn't world champion at the time. It was 4 a.m. The club just ended. I was in a chicken and chip shop. It's an English thing. They sell like fries and fried chicken and they're open 24 hours. Like, yeah, something like that. And there's a long line. An Audi with tinted windows pulls up. These 3 big black guys get out, push it straight in front of the whole line, go straight up to the front, cut in front of 5 people and start ordering. My girl goes to me, we've been waiting here ages. I said, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. She goes, you're just going to let them push in? I said, shut the fuck up. So I made her be quiet, right? Anyway, the man two in front of me, not this guy, the guy here, he couldn't tell this bitch to shut up. She's like, excuse me, there's a line. And the guy turns around and goes, you think I don't see the fucking line? I don't care about fucking line. So she starts running her mouth. Bro, this dude knocked her the fuck out.
Oh, man.
Whack. Clean. Out cold. By the time her man looked at her and looked back up, boom, sparked, done.
Whoa.
Both of them. And I stood there and watched both of them just laid out clean. Yeah, fatalities, bro. It was, I wouldn't be surprised if they both had permanent damage. It was bad. The 3 dudes who ordered the chicken and chips didn't even take their food. They started laughing, walked back out, got in the car. And I turned around and said to my girl, you see, some people are just ready to fucking go to jail. Some people are ready to kill people over fucking nothing. You want me to fight? Oh yeah, I can fight. But what am I fighting these 3 dudes for? What, fries?
Yeah.
What, fries and a 10-minute delay?
Damn.
Man, and that's what bitches will get you into this shit.
Yeah.
Bitches will get you into this shit fast. And that's why when I see dudes saying, oh yeah, she's just my friend, you're hanging around with girls and they're not even giving you pussy and they might get your ass killed. What the fuck is wrong with you, man? Girls are a liability. They're a liability to have around you because you have a duty to protect them in some regard. I curate my experience very, very carefully. Any woman I'm around, I understand I have to protect. So she better suck something. Cause I ain't fucking sitting around being friends with no bitch. Cause I've seen it. I've seen so many men have their ass kicked over chicks. It's incredible. 100%, man. They're a liability, and it's not necessarily just completely their fault.
Yeah.
But if you're rolling with a chick who won't shut up and you tell her to shut up, you need to be careful, man. And Myron nailed it. There's a big difference between fighting and violence.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a professional fighter, right? I know how to fight. But fighting and violence are different things.
Yep.
If I wanted to get violent on somebody, I just run them the fuck over. Like, forget fighting. Right? If somebody who hurt my family was on the sidewalk, I'm not going to get out and fight the guy. I'm just going to just run him over my fucking truck. We'll talk about violence.